So I need to start with a confession. I am a millennial. We exist. I'm actually not exactly true millennial because I was born in 1983. So now we have a double microphone. Okay. So I was born in 1983, and I'm looking in the room here. Where are the under 40? Please raise your hand. Aye. Very good. Very good, exactly. So here's the thing. Age is just a number, right? It doesn't matter. If you are more than 40, but you're feeling young, hungry, thirsty, because you want to learn, raise your hand. Yes. Good job, Nikki. We have the right audience. So let me take you back a little bit. In 1983, this was my first computer. Anyone knows which brand is this? It's written, but you don't see it well, so Amstrad. So this was my first computer. I used to play Super Mario. You know, Mario, Luigi, my brother. Yeah. But I also used to do some basic coding with it. So I had this book. It was pages long. And I had to type into this computer these lines of code to make, after hours, a calculator, because it didn't have a calculator. And the problem was that if I got one character wrong, I see some people nodding, you had to write it all over again, and you didn't know where was the mistake. I guess it's this thing fault that I never wanted to learn how to code. Then later on, in the 90s, I got my first Windows PC that was connected with this beautiful thing, which had this sound. I hope it works. Can you get the sound? Doesn't work. It's too old. But I guess you all remember the sound, right? And then the page load. There you go. There you go. It's in the background. What a beauty. What a beauty. What a beauty. So we appreciated time back in the days. Okay, enough. We appreciated time back in the days because it took time to just load the page, maybe. And then I joined P&G in 2005, and I met this machine, the fax, the printer, the everything. So you would go to this little machine in the room, and you would send fax. So I am a millennial, but I worked with the fax. And actually, in 2005, I also worked with Lotus Notes. Anybody? Yeah. I know that among of you, some of you that still love Lotus Notes. I know. That's okay. No problem. And then something happened. 2007 happened. What happened in 2007? Yeah, this guy happened. Please, the audio, if I can.
This is a day I've been looking forward to for 2.5 years. Every once in a while, a revolutionary product comes along that changes everything. And Apple has been, well, first of all, one's very fortunate if you get to work on just one of these in your career.
So the iPhone happened, January 2007. And what he says here, the speech is beautiful. If you want to rewatch it, it still gives me the chill. What he says here is you are fortunate enough in 2007 if you get to work on one of these. Today, we are fortunate enough because we get to experience many of these. And some of you probably to work on some of these. So what has happened since 2007, the last decade or a little bit more, is what we have seen this morning. The pace technology has evolved. It has affected our lives directly. The iPhone, tablets, faster PCs, technology is surrounding us all over. But here's the thing. I'm also, obviously, I have my family. I'm from the south of Italy. And my mom, which was born in 1954, finally started to use the PC, the laptop that we gifted her just 5 years ago. My mom has an average education. This room has an above average education. But she took a generation, 25 years versus me, to start using the PC. And she did because she was forced. Me and my sister live abroad. We don't really pick up the phone. Actually, if you call me, probably don't answer. We text, we Skype, you send me a meeting. So she had to adapt to be able to talk to us. And now she's using the PC. But it took her a generation. Why? You got the answer already this morning. Fear. We have several types of fears associated with technology. The fear of my mom is different than yours, but I think it all comes down to a very specific type of fear we have when we are faced with something we don't understand. It's the fear of losing control. It's the fear of this thing doing something that I don't want to be done. And so when we have fear of losing control, when we start not understanding the environment around us, what happens with our brain? Our brain does a very powerful job. It starts to create ideas. It starts to imagine. It starts to fill the blanks of how things are supposed to work. So we come up with our own ideas and concepts, opinions. For example, if I say blockchain, how many of you can raise your hand? I get you on stage and you can speak about what is blockchain. Any volunteer? Okay. 4 or 5 people. So who's coming? But here's the thing. I bet that later today, at night, after a few drinks, if we talk about blockchain, you all have an opinion about it. For sure. Whatever that opinion is. Because we create, we fill the blanks, we create with our imagination, and we think of technology in ways that sometimes are blocking us from advancing and from changing. So, where are these information coming from? Media, obviously. It's a massive amount of data that the media is feeding us, very often creating more fears. And of course, for somebody like my mother, it's very easy to believe what is said on TV. But it's not just my mother, it's all of us. It's what we have just seen this morning. Different type of people talking of technology in a way that is not helping us to understand it, but rather fearing it. And it's not just the media. Anybody watching Black Mirror on Netflix? I mean, I don't know how you do it, but I find it horrible, scary. The future, I watched 3 episodes, and I couldn't stand it because I don't want my brain to be fed with that negativity associated with technology. So here's the thing. As people, as human beings, we are very bad at predicting our future. And especially when we don't understand something, we are even worse at predicting our future. And I have an example for that.
What if I were to tell you that I could predict down to the second a future apocalyptic event? One where electricity and water would stop. One where planes would fall from the sky. One where nuclear weapons would be launched. One that would spell the breakdown of society as we know it. And it was less than 50 years away. What if I were to tell you it was 15 years away? What if I were to tell you it was a few months away? What if I were to tell you it was tomorrow? This isn't just a hypothetical question. This was a real concern people had as the 20th century came to a close. It prompted increased sales in water, canned food, and survival items as the entire world prepared for an incoming unnatural disaster of unprecedented scale. A potential computer error known as the Y2k Bug.
So, do you remember it? Yeah. The Millennium Bug here in Europe, I think it was called. I was 16 back in the days. I remember exactly where I was and what I was doing. Do you? Yeah. What happened? Nothing. 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 Why? Because they fixed it. They fixed the programming issue that was associated with the Millennium Bug. And so, yeah, there are 5 or 6 things that happened, irrelevant, pretty much. So we are not good at predicting our future when it comes to technology. We have a very bad track record. But one thing is for sure, you heard it this morning, and I think it follows a beautiful pattern. Technology is evolving fast. We're not going to stop this, so stop believing we can slow it down. It's not happening. Research is there, AI, data, IoT, health. We have massive benefits to take out of technology. We're not going to slow it down, but also cannot predict it properly. So how do we address fear? The answer came from a few of the speakers that anticipated me. In a world where the pace of technology follows the exponentials, Ray, George mentioned him this morning, said, we won't experience 100 years of progress in the 21st century. It will be more like 20,000 years of progress. Now, I love Ray, and the problem with this statement of Ray is that it is from 2001. We've gone a long way. So it's probably not anymore 20,000 years of progress we're going to experience. It's significantly more. So what do we do? I think it's the only thing we can do is to work on ourselves. Because it's the only thing we can truly operate is ourselves. We talked about change this morning. Now, the funny thing about change is that it's nothing new. This guy in the picture, Instagram, is slightly old, and Nikki, I obviously had to go to Greece to find this. He's a philosopher, obviously, from 2,500 years ago, Heraclion. And one of the things he said is, the only constant is change. 2,500 years ago. So the concept of constantly transforming is nothing new, ladies and gentlemen. But somehow, because our lifespan is short compared to the life of the universe, we forget. And we forget that we're not static individuals. We forget that in this age of accelerated transformation, the only constant is change. So what? What do we change? Our mind. Thank you, Conchita, for introducing the topic of the brain. We have to work on our mind, on our mindset. I like to imagine the brain as a computer, a beautiful, massive, complex computer. And I like to imagine that we could go into the source code of this computer and read the code that is giving us, shaping our mindset, our set of beliefs, our rules, how we make decisions in our lives. And as we read this code, we can identify the faulty lines and rewrite it, rewire our mindset. How do we do that? Education. Learning, unlearning, relearning. To me, this is the number one and the most important secret to thrive in any age of transformation, especially the current fast-paced age of transformation. We have to work on our mindset. We have to rewrite our code. We have to change our rules that allow us to take decisions or not take decisions. We have to change how we see the world, how we accept other people, how we accept technology. Now, what happens when we don't change our mindset in the corporate environment? So in my daily work, I have the opportunity to coach, consult senior leaders of various organizations. We do a consulting practice in digital transformation, and I work with 2 other fantastic partners here on the transformation of manufacturing. What happens when we as managers don't change our mindset? First, we have an opinion about everything, right? Like I said before, we'll talk later about blockchain, we all have opinions. Now, when we have an opinion about everything, because we are managers, we automatically know it all. And we know it better. And when we know it all and we know it better, it's difficult, Bracken mentioned this morning, it's difficult to change that mindset because I know it better. Who are you to tell me how to do it? The third pitfall is one that gets a lot of organizations stuck into immobility. We are already doing it. When I say digital transformation, 90% of my potential clients say, we're doing it. And then I say, good. Perfect, let's look at what you're doing. And then when you unpack it, you understand that it's full of beliefs of what they're doing, and there are opportunities that have to be uncovered and developed. Now, there is a fourth one, there is a tricky one. Everyone else is doing it. What do I mean with this? Technology companies, like the Googles of this world, the Facebook of this world, the Salesforce of this world, they're selling to all of us every day, software solutions. They are big, they're massive, they're thought leaders. So if the companies they serve are doing it, my company should use that technology as well. Wrong. Do you need it? Is your business needing it? Or are you just following a trend that makes you feel content and happy? And last, when everything fails, when the results are not there, it's technology's fault. It's not. It's your fault. So why? We've seen a similar curve later today. The immobility in organizations is keeping organizations slow, while technology is progressing. We need plasticity, we need agility, we need adaptability as individuals, as leaders, and in our team. When you lead a team, when you have employees, when you have coworkers, you want to transfer this to them because it's the collective that has to progress, not just you alone. And this is what I say to my clients, all of them, the first 5 minutes we meet. If you want to work on digital transformation, it's not about technology. It's about people. We have to work on people. Only if we work on people, we can do the transformation together. So, how do we work on people? We change the mindset, but what is unique to us as individuals? So here's what I think. In the last 100 years, we have seen an incredible amount of progress. The industrialization has brought us wealth, has brought us poverty down, it's done magic for humanity. But I don't think that human beings were born to work in factories. I don't think human beings were born to drive trucks. I don't think human beings were born to do repetitive, boring jobs. We are more than that. That's a machine job. We have been acting as machines for a century. We got that progress. We have to move past it. We have to work on the rest of our software embedded here, which makes us unique versus the machines around us, even when they will get to communicate emotionally with us. What is that? It's this. It's this set of apps you can download in your brain, not from the App Store, but by willingness, desire to develop your social awareness, your individual awareness, your self-discovery, questioning yourself, being better at being a human being. And so, of course, this is my second secret. How can you develop these characteristics for yourself, for your kids, for your coworkers, for your teams? How can you invest in doing a better job here? And of course, when you start unpacking that code, when you start rewriting that code, what happens is beautiful. Jack Ma made a commencement speech last year at the University of Hong Kong. Beautiful short video. Jack Ma is a brilliant mind, of course, but he's also a very simple man. He speaks simple words. And one of the things he said is, as a society, we've been driven in the past by the advancement of knowledge, the competition of knowledge. That competition is gone. Knowledge is accessible. The future is for a society driven by experiences and creativity. And this is what we need to learn to teach ourselves again. And as we do that, my last secret is an obvious one. Once we unpack the code, once we rewrite our code, once we learn to be human beings, we will want to embrace a lifelong learning journey. No excuses, but the desire and the thirst that all of you have to be young and to feel young until the last day. And I close with one slide in a second on the screen. And it's the only future that I will not want to see realized. And that's where we have to commit, all of us, not to make it happen. Einstein envisioned it, feared it. I hope we can fight it. I don't want this. Thank you.